Everyone. My name is Christy Sanderson, and I'm the founder of Glory Nation. I'm also a certified spiritual life coach. And today I want to talk about some things that I know some people are struggling with. So I want to title this sermon, God is My Provider. I know some of you all are struggling right now because everything that's going on with the world, with the pandemic, and some people have lost their jobs, or some people are still trying to catch back up with their finance because it's so many things that happened during the pandemic. But did you know, even through world crisis, God will protect you? Because during the pandemic happened, at the time I wasn't working. I work in education. I'm a teacher, but I didn't receive any money. But do you know, during a pandemic, I made more money in that year during a pandemic than I ever made in my life. And I'm going to show you how I did that. One thing I learned too, and I know that God is my true provider. God owns everything in this world. You'll never run out of money. You'll never go through a drought. Water will be supplied. You'll never run out of supplies of water or anything in this world. But the only way you can do that is by knowing who your true provider is. God is my provider. I made God my CEO in my life. And I'm going to tell you how to make God your CEO and to make God your only choice in your life, to trust Him to provide for you. Now I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've done in my life. Now understand, everybody's faith is not at their level. If your faith is not at their level, don't try it. I wouldn't tell you to try it, because lack of faith, if you don't have any faith, you will not receive any blessing from God. You have to have faith in God. Because I know I've done some crazy things in my life, but that's because my faith is at their level. And my faith is crazy for God. So I'm going to start off reading with a Bible verse. And it's Philippians 4:19. And my God will supply all your needs according to His riches and glory in Christ Jesus. So that means no matter what you're going through, God will supply all your needs. It doesn't matter if you don't have a job or not. Because I know most of the time in my life, I never really had a job. But God always provided for me. And I always had more than enough. And I'm a single mother. And no, I don't receive child support. I never relied on the government for anything. God always provided. So one thing I learned too, I know a lot of people don't like talking about sowing seeds. But I'm going to let you know, sowing seed does not always have to be money. You can sow seeds in many different ways. And I always remember, I always went to different type of churches or conference, but don't never go to the prophet empty hands. So I don't care if I had $1, I'm going to sow that seed. I don't care if I didn't have anything to give. I'm going to give what I do have. I could have clothes or shoes, something I never wore before. And I would take it, to have different clothing drives. And back to what I was saying too, when I said I made more money during the pandemic, one thing too, because I told you that I am a single mother, what I did do was I sowed the $1,000 seed. Now I didn't make that much money because I never made a lot of money from my job. God always my provider. But what I did is I challenged myself, and this was like in February. I think it was like February 20, and I sold my first $1,000 seed. And what I did is, no, I didn't have, for my job, for my income, but what I did receive, my tax return, I sold that first $1,000 seed. Not knowing that the pandemic was going to happen, but just because I sold that $1,000 seed, when everything shut down, I was protected. God covered me. I didn't lose my home. I didn't lose anything. God even blessed me with more money than I ever made before in my life. But what God did for me, just because I sold that $1,000 seed, so around March that time, when everything just started shutting completely back down, I couldn't go back to work because the schools and everything was shut down. So I didn't have any money to pay my rent. So I called my apartment complex. And you know what they told me? I said, you know what? I don't have any money to pay my rent this month. I've been expecting, about COVID-19. But what they told me, I'm even still shocked and surprised by what they said. The lady said, she said, Kristen, hold on. Let me give you a few minutes. Let me see what I can do. Not even 5 minutes later, the lady told me, she said, Christy, you don't have to worry about anything. Your rent is already paid for, in the month of April. Someone had already paid your rent for you. The only thing you have to pay is your $30 water bill. But you can pay that whenever. And at that time, I was so grateful and I was so thankful because I trusted God and not knowing what He was going to do for me in the future. So you have to put your faith and trust in God. Don't rely on no job. Don't rely on no man. Don't rely on no income. Because at the end of the day, God is your true provider. And it's also happened to me another time when it's happened. This time, I did have my rent money. But I want to make a sacrifice. Like I said earlier, if your faith is not there, don't do it. I wouldn't recommend you to do it. But if you have faith, the Bible says you have faith as a small as a mustard seed. You can move mountains. But I wanted to go to this prophetic change training. It was with my spiritual parents. And I didn't have any money to go. So what I did have, my rent is like $1,500 a month. Well, I sacrificed my rent money. And I sacrificed my rent money to pay for that conference. And it was so bad, they even was trying to evict me out of my apartment. They said I had to pay my rent before midnight at 12. So what I did what I know. I went into deep prayer. And I prayed the way my father taught me to pray. And I asked the heavens to come down and for God to open doors for something supernatural to happen to me. Not even an hour later, someone had paid my rent. And there was nobody but God. And it all by the grace of God. And I'm not even done yet. Because the next day, someone deposited over $6,000 into my bank account. So I don't care where you are now, where your finance is okay, because God sees you. He knows your struggle, but He wants you to come to Him so you can figure out how you can make God your true provider in life. Now, all I know is what I've been through. Some of you probably know. I know I went through things with my family because I grew up in a traditional and a Baptist church. Well, they didn't talk about things like that in the church about God providing for you. I know when my church and my family, they were so busy focused on tradition and religious that they didn't have any room for God. So I removed all the tradition and religious and I found God for myself. And I made God my only option. I don't care if I do have a job or if I don't have a job. God always gonna provide for me. And He has always been there for me when I was at my lowest and lowest. When I didn't have any money. If all I had was $10, I gave and I put that in the church. And then a couple days later, somebody at Western U me $300. I received checks in the mail for $250 or $1,000 because I know who my true provider is. As long as I kept my faith and I made God my only option, He has always provided for me and my son. I have lived wherever I want to live. I never depend on no Section 8 or anything like that. I never had to live in the hood. And I told you, I'm a single mother. So I know what God has done for me. I always lived in the best places and safe neighborhoods. And God always provided for me. He always gave me the car I wanted. All because I put my faith in God. Even though your life, you might not be where you want to be in life, but just know God is waiting for you. He wants you to come to Him. He wants to give you more, but you have to remove all the traditions and religions out your life and to trust Him. You just have to build your faith. Now, I understand it might be scary to give, I don't care if you don't have any money. You give what you have. I don't care if you at church. You better write on that envelope and give God. God, I don't have much to give to you, but I give you my heart and I'm trusting you to provide for me. I don't have anyone else. You're all that I have. And it's just, I understand. And I know, but God needs you. He wants you to come to Him. And I love you all. Be blessed. If you want to know more information, you can contact me and I'll be willing to help you. And I love to help you because I only know what I've done in my life. And I only do what I see my Father do. And I do everything according to the Bible because when Jesus Christ left us, He left us with the gift of the Holy Spirit. So we can go to Jesus ourselves. And if you don't understand, all you have to do is just ask me, God, I don't know how. I don't know what I can do. How can I trust you to provide for me? I don't care if what those people say. That bill might be due. Oh, they probably took your car. Or you're about to lose your home. In the midst of your storm, God is right there waiting for you. He wants to help you. And then sometimes you have to realize we keep trying to hold on to things that are not meant for us. Because sometimes we try to hold on to that job or hold on to that house and hold on to that car. But sometimes God might say no. But when He said no, God has something better for you. And it'll be better than that car, that job that you have. Because will give you the best. And you do not never have to settle for anything less in life than what you deserve.